Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are headed to Georgia, my home state. They're coming down here with Senator Raphael Warnock to urge passage of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the For the People Act, H.R. 1. Both are terrible pieces of legislation. The John Lewis Voting Rights Act is more restrained than H.R. 1. H.R. 1 is a grab bag of liberal policies designed to federalize elections and not allow the states to control their elections anymore. Lots of it is arguably unconstitutional, but they want to pass it. It's not going to get passed. Progressives are furious with Biden and Harris coming to Georgia. They actually are. A number of major progressive voting rights groups are attacking the president and vice president for engaging in inconsequential theater. They're going to Georgia with Raphael Warnock. He's up for re-election. They want to help him. Warnock is out of touch with the people of Georgia. He's fixated on voting rights. To be fair, he was the senior pastor at Martin Luther King's Ebenezer Baptist Church. He's a progressive activist for voting rights and the like, but he's far to the left of even black voters in Georgia. He opposes photo ID. He opposes voter integrity, things like that, things black voters support. He's way to the left of everybody. And Harris and Biden, they're going to Georgia. They're going to campaign with him. They're going to make a big play on voting rights. And progressive activists are furious because they say the fight's in Washington, not Georgia. Why aren't you in Washington dealing with Manchin and Sinema? Well, over the weekend, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema both said their positions have not changed on the filibuster since the summer of last year. In the summer of last year, actually, it was, I think, March for Manchin, May for Sinema. They both released op-eds saying, no, we're not going to change the filibuster. Manchin apparently had been toying with the idea of he would keep the filibuster but make it easier for measures to get to the floor of the Senate. So under the Senate rules, if Republicans fight for filibusters, typically they don't bring stuff to the floor. Sometimes they will. They change that rule. But typically they don't. So Manchin essentially would make it very easy for the majority party in the Senate to get stuff on the floor of the Senate to be debated and killed by the filibuster. But it turns out that Kyrsten Sinema wants no change whatsoever, and Kyrsten Sinema says it would be bad for everyone. It would be mutually assured destruction. If you begin to change the filibuster from what it is right now, you need 60 votes to get anything passed in the Senate. And it's not really 60 votes to get anything passed. It's 60 votes to conclude debate. If you take 60 votes to conclude debate and you change it, you are ensuring the destruction of the Senate. And she's right. By the way, the Senate rules are filled with delay tactics. And those delay tactics do not get used because of the filibuster. Do you know, under the rules of the Senate, Chuck Schumer could force a talking filibuster. It's not typically done. Chuck Schumer could make the Republicans do it. And all the conversations that you hear out there about the filibuster tend to ignore the fact that they really could go back to a talking filibuster right now if they wanted to. They don't. They want the theater. But there's a problem. Democrats have not just internalized, we have less than a decade to save planet Earth. Democrats have now internalized that the Republicans are a threat to democracy. Democrats have internalized that we're all going to die at the hands of Republicans. The Republicans are fascist, they're authoritarian, they're totalitarian, they're all in on Trump, they're a cult, they're bad for democracy. And the Democratic Party has decided, we're the Democrats, therefore we're for democracy. And they've got the news media helping them, the hysteria last week of January 6th. They've got the news media helping them on the climate change hysteria as well. So now let's follow along. Let's go down. Let's explore this. You're a political party that believes the other party is a threat to democracy. You are a political party that believes democracy itself is a threat to the climate. You are a political party that believes the other party is a threat to the climate. You are a political party that believes if the other party comes back into power, you will never have a free and fair election again. That's what they're saying on MSNBC. It's Joy Reid's talking point. It's Eric Swalwell's talking point. So all the Democrats believe this. So if you believe the other party is bad for the climate, democracy itself is bad for the climate, the other party is bad for democracy, the other party is authoritarian, why don't you become authoritarian? Why don't you do this? I mean, I can see this coming. The Democrats really do believe that the Republican Party is bad for democracy. The Democrats really do believe the other party, the Republican Party, is a threat to the Republic. And they see the polling. My gosh, have you seen CNN? The talking points on CNN are starting to change now. Suddenly it's we've been living in fear of COVID. COVID's not so bad. We need to go back to normal now. Everybody needs to go back to... They would not be saying this, except they tried the January 6th hysteria. They tried to whip everybody into a frenzy over January 6th, and nobody cares outside of the Democratic Party and the media. What people care about is normalcy, going back to life, realizing that the vaccines aren't stopping the virus at this point. Can't we just go back to life? The Democrats have a problem. The polling suggests they're going to get beaten badly in November. Joe Biden's polling is terrible. His unfavorables are at an all-time high. Republicans are tied or ahead on the generic ballot. And as much as redistricting has largely been a wash, Republicans do have a slight advantage to take back the House of Representatives. So if you're a Democratic Party that has internalized Republicans are bad for democracy, Republicans are bad for the environment, we're all going to die if we don't save the climate, and the Republicans, if they come back to power, are going to destroy the country, and we'll never have free and fair elections again. It's not that far a leap to decide you've got to take action to yourself. Become the authoritarian in order to save democracy. Bad guys never view themselves as bad guys. They always view themselves as the heroes, stopping other bad guys.